Hey, vinyl community, Jason. It is Saturday evening. Saw that it is that time of the year, getting Vinyl Tag 2021. Been watching a few of them. Always love doing vinyl tags. I have to say thanks to Andrew Tales from the Crate for always keeping the vinyl tag alive every year. Puts out I think is the kind of official vinyl tag every year, and that's the one that I always do. So great to see it up. I mean, I knew it would be here. Just kind of looking forward to it, actually. Get me back involved, watching videos and I guess making videos. So I'm gonna jump right in. Well, first, as Dean at Grandma's Handbag, Santa's Little Helper. Tis the season still, I guess. I don't know. I got my Christmas tree up. Actually, I should have taken down my Christmas ornaments from my tree tonight, but instead I am doing a vinyl tag video, which I've been just kind of dying to do. Took notes and stuff. Pliny the Elder, first beer I've had actually in at least probably a week. Yeah, this is a good one. So good. Maybe a little more. Okay, so I got my cheat sheet down here. Might be looking down here. Best Discovery 2020. There's so much good music I feel that I discovered in 2020. But for me, this was it. This was my #1 Spotify listen. And I mean, the reason I guess is because they released 4 albums in 2 years. I'm a little late. I'm 19. They released 5, which is, I mean, it took me a while to get over this one. It was so good. 7, which I didn't pick up. But I got Black Is and Rise, which came out in 2020. Salt, these guys are awesome. It's like kind of like Afrobeat, soul, just like left field. It's just really good. Kind of like got some gospel elements to it. It's just so amazing. And there's not much about these guys. I mean, they didn't even tour after they released 2 albums in 19, didn't tour. I think they're just like a studio band. It's like a producer and a few girls. I don't even know who's in the band. It's just, they're kind of very mysterious, which is also kind of one of the appealing parts. But for me, that was the discovery of 2020. 2020 quarantine buy. I bought so many records in quarantine. It was stupid. I spent too much time on Instagram buying stuff, but I bought a lot of stuff from the Brazilian store, so I buy it in bulk. So I'm just going to show kind of the best of from one seller that I bought a bulk of. So there's 3 albums. This is actually what we're listening to. This is Pasicoes, and I don't even know what that means in Portuguese. It's not a word that I really know. It's like changes or something. I don't know. But this is this doubles up as a comp too, even though I have a different one for a comp, but I don't have a lot of comps. But this is like late 60s, I believe, or maybe 70, Brazilian psych, which I don't have a lot of psych, and I like psych, I just don't know it that much. It's not something I really explored, but yeah, Brazilian psych, and I think this was like the creme de la creme. Brazilian psych at the time. So Imaginário had a bunch of albums after El Tribute, which is kind of Joycey and Nelson, so it was like pre-Joycey Nelson. They had a couple singles, and Keeping Mikado and Modula Mill, which I think Modula Mill had one album that sells for like ridiculous amounts. So that's what we. Good thing there's no record here. I just floated. So that's what we're listening to, and yeah, that was a good one. I got a sweet deal on that. This seller, I don't know why he gave me this insane. I think I was good. I mean, good and bad about COVID is I got really sweet prices, but I feel kind of bad because it was just record stores that were just struggling to stay around, so they're trying to sell stuff. So I don't know, you take advantage, I guess, but I'm not like I got it for cheap, but I probably got it for like 60% of what I should have paid for it. This is the same seller, Gilberto Gil and Georgia Bain, and it is called Shango Agum, and this is the original. They repressed it, I think, maybe the same year after, which they cut a lot of the songs in half and made it 1 LP. This is double LPs, and so these are like full tracks, and this is just them jamming. They're playing both Gilberto Gil and Georgia Bain songs, so it was really sweet to get that. And Georgia Bain is like my favorite, and I think I'm showing two Georgia Bains in this vinyl tag. So yeah, really sweet to get that one. It wasn't something I was like really desiring after, but I mean you can't deny. And he had a sick price. I mean ridiculous price. So I just pulled the trigger. And he probably gave me a good price because I was buying a bunch of records too. And last but not least, Cecilia. I got an insane price on this, insane deal on this one, and it is like it's like near mint. I don't even know why he sold it to me for so cheap. I basically just bought it because it was so cheap. Because I mean, I probably got it for like half of what it goes for. But this is really good. Produced by Arthur Versailles, very groovy. It's all covers, but yeah, just it's really good. And I saw Jules Peterson actually play this earlier in the year. That's the only reason I really knew about it. But it kept popping up on my YouTube every time I listen to stuff. I was like, oh, it's so good. Is that the same? Oh no, it's not the same album. It's Cecilia. So I just decided to buy it. I actually balked at first, but I ended up doing it. So want to find in 2021. Obviously, tons of stuff I love to find, but stuff I've really been liking. I've actually liked him for a few years. Sixto Rodriguez. I love to get Cold Fact, and I've been holding out. I mean, his stuff online. I mean, it's like. Right now it's like $400 or $500, but I probably should have bought an original a few years ago when it was a little cheaper. But I'm just holding out, hoping to get something on locally. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Crazier things. I've found stranger records for sure. So I'd love to find some Sisto, either Cold Fact or even the one after. I can't remember the name of it, but box sets. So I kind of cheated here. I'm gonna cheat on a couple of these. I don't really have any box sets. Kind of odd. I'm thinking about it now. I'm really into like buying original copies, and I don't really have that many comps either. Just buying like original releases is what I don't buy a ton of reissues either. So okay, yeah. But I did buy my first box set. It was the Vinyl Me Please and Now Again Records collaboration for Tribe Records. So I did buy that. It comes in February. But I kind of cheated here. I just threw. This is the only thing I know that has a box. It's like a box. This is George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. So that is my filler until I get my Tribe Records 3LP. Everyone knows that one. Concept album. So I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything. I know saw Tommy. That was obvious. And that's the only one I could think of. It's like a concept album that like just popped in my head, even if I had it or not. But I have this one, and this is, it's not even really it's an album. It's a 7-inch, double 7-inch. He wrote a few more songs, but they cut it. I think it was 13 songs, and then it was an 8. So they cut out 5 of the 13. So double 7-inch. I say it's a concept because Manu Maltese, he's an artist. He writes all the songs. He's like physical artist. So this thing is all, he wrote a story. It's all kind of like a story. Most of the pages are drawings, but there's some writing too, but it's all drawings. So he did all the drawings, and he plays guitar, wrote all the songs. I mean, has like a kind of a band in here too. And also, if you go online on YouTube, you can look up Manu Maltese, Furia de Natureza. He did a video, which is like an animation of kind of a lot of the drawing. It's the same concept, a lot of it. Very this charcoal black and white craziness. And it's basically like a soundtrack for a little story he wrote, I guess. So that's the concept. Really good. It doesn't really. I mean, you can still buy it from the label actually. My favorite label, Goma Gringa. It's just kind of out there. I mean, it's like kind of like post-punk with some like really good, just really good players, like clarinet player. Just kind of crazy music, but not hard. It's hard, but it's kind of like kind of acoustic instruments. It's really good. I recommend it. Let's see here. Change of direction. So I'll just have to go with Beck. Sea change, which is basically the definition of change of direction. Remember this came out in college. This is blown away. Beck is obviously two turntables, very beat heavy. that Devil's Haircut, and this is just came out like it's not acoustic, but it's very melancholy and very somber and so good. This is my favorite Beck album too. Songwriting here, he's an amazing songwriter. White Label Promo, so I had to go two, and they both came to my mind. I don't have that many White Label promos. I had actually the one I really wanted to show was it was actually light blue technically, so I didn't show it. But this is Alan Toussaint, Life, Love, and Faith. White Label promo on Reprise. I found this across the street. And I love Alan Toussaint. He's like one of my favorites. I actually at one point I just looked at everything he was on and produced, and I just started buying all that stuff. I found a lot of good music just by looking for stuff he produced. But I found that across the street for like $10 at a flea market at the community college across the street. So I'm really stoked to that. And this is Minnie Riperton. Come to My Garden. White Label GRT. I found this for $1 actually at like a pop-up garage sale. No, it's not a garage sale. This guy collects records and he has like a pop-up sale. He just buys tons of collections and just gets rid of most of it. Keeps the rare stuff for his collection. But let's see what else we got. Next one, Compilation. Let me flip this one. So Compilation, I don't have that many comps. Like I said, I'm more into the original, getting the original pressings of just the album they did in the studio, the kind of had the vibe at the time. But I did have this Passacoas, and then someone Dean Gramasamak gifted me a Brazilian comp. I think it's from the early 80s, late 70s, something like that. A lot of crazy Brazilian music, really good, like electronic stuff I never heard, which is really cool. But I went with this one because I don't know, it's just so unique. This is Georgia Bain, Des Anos Depois, which is 10 years after. And I picked this one because if you don't know, or if you really kind of want to get into Brazilian music, I think this is the perfect starting point. Georgia Bain is like my favorite Brazilian artist. He's very accessible. It's like MPB, samba, groove. He had tons of songs on the radio, but he was kind of also like in Tropicalia, so he was kind of, I don't know what it's called, like, I want to say he's like David Bowie, but he's like kind of bordering like the underground and the popular music at the same time, you know, if that makes any sense. So he has like tons of hits. Like, my wife knows like every song on here, dude. And she's Brazilian, she grew up in Brazil. But what I love about this is, so every song, I think there's 4 songs on each side, but they're all 3-song medleys. So it's not like he took studio tracks and just, you know, put a bunch of studio tracks on an album. He actually cut new tracks, and they're all 3-song medleys, and amazing, so groovy. I mean, you got all the hits on here, and like if I spin, which I don't often, I used to spin with like my friend as an art show, like once a year I would spin there and play the side 2, like the first couple tracks. Always like so groovy, so good. So let's see here. Tell us a story. So I guess not a lot of stories, but before I had kids, I would just go all over the place. Garage sales. I was getting up, meeting people at like 6 in the morning before work. Like I found some crazy stuff, you know, like a guy selling his old roommate's records to pay back rent, and I was pulling insane records from that. But this was a good story. This is Brother Jack McDuff, Moon Rappin'. This is the original stereo on Blue Note. I didn't know this, but I was digging at a dollar sale at a record store. I had like a dollar sale once a year. I didn't find this there, but I was digging next to a guy, and we were talking. He just started telling me about this album. I don't know why it came up. So I never really thought I'd find like a nice copy of it, but I was at a garage sale a few years later, and I was studying for CPA, CFA or something, so I showed up like, you know, at 10 or something, so late, which is usually nothing there, but the guy was selling like, you know, he had some, maybe why there was a bunch of records left, it was kind of like the soul jazz stuff, Hugh Masekela, like Chico Hamilton kind of stuff. I found a Bola Sech album. Anyway, and I didn't find this there, but I was buying records, and this old guy came up, and he's like, "How much for all of them?" And the guy's like, "I'm not selling them all." Plus, probably somebody came in. I think he said someone came and bought all the classic rock stuff earlier. And the guy's like, "Okay," and he's like, "Hey, record guy," that was me. He's like, "You looking for records? Here's my number. Call me." I was like, "Okay." So I got his number. I called him a few weeks later. I had no idea what to expect, and it's just this old guy who just goes to garage sales and just buys a bunch of stuff, and he buys records, but he doesn't even look at them. If someone's selling a box of records for $20 or something, he just gives them $20, takes them home. So this guy had like 400 records, and like just random, mostly junk, mostly like thrift store stuff. But he had a few decent records. I mean, there was like David Bowie. There was just enough where I think I was like, man, maybe I can make my money back. But he had this in the shrink, and this is like. I was like, what? Like, so, and he actually had this Hawaiian record too. I didn't know at the time, but it ended up selling for like $100. So I made like most of my money back, half my money back just on one record. So, but I can't believe I found this through some crazy dude at a garage sale. Gave me his number, and yeah, you never know, man. And I mean, this was like probably the only one I kept from the whole collection. I wouldn't call it a collection. It was like more of a hodgepodge of just madness. Needs to be pressed on vinyl. I have this on CD, but my CDs I don't even know where they are. So I'm gonna go with Mason Jennings. Actually, his first like 4 or 5 albums aren't pressed on vinyl. I wish they were. I'm into his earlier stuff. The late stuff's good too, but earlier stuff is when I was in college and I'm just nostalgic. But I think it's called Use Your Voice. Use your voice. I wish that was pressed. I mean, that's like almost perfect. Like Mason Jennings is awesome. He's like kind of like a Dylan-esque guy, like very storyteller. Doesn't have like very like amazing voice, but I think it's great. But kind of like a Dylan type voice, songwriting like lyrically like Dylan. I think he's a little bit tighter and like a little bit riffier on his songs, but they're very concise. 3 minutes. He was on Jack Johnson's label, so he kind of almost has that surfer vibe to it, but it is Dylan, but it's just very tight. And I play acoustic guitar, so I love it. So yeah, I wish that was pressed on vinyl. Who knows? There's some Persona stuff recently that I was always wish pressed on vinyl and just recently got pressed. So you never know, but I doubt that's what will be pressed on vinyl. Let's see, Common Records. So this is interesting because Simon Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. I love this album. My friend introduced me and when I was in my junior year in high school or something, and there's half these songs are just radio hits. But it was funny is because I was looking and my copy's not even that great, and I probably found this comes in like every other collection. I swear to God, I see this album all the time, and you know what? I've never taken the time to upgrade my copy. Apparently. Probably it's not like trash, it's listenable for sure, but I know I've come across Chris copies before, and I'm so bad at not upgrading my stuff. Except for stuff like this, more. It's a little rare. I probably would have, like my Bowie I came across. I flipped it last year, 2019. Like replaced them all. But I thought it was interesting that's a comp. But I'll be looking out now next time I find a good copy of that, I'm gonna switch mine out. And then Uncommon Record. It's kind of a sore spot. I've sold purged a ton of my collection, but I've sold specifically a handful of records that sold for like $300-400, and I kind of regret it now. Most of them for sure. So yeah, I just think, oh man, I had some really expensive and like rare, would have been like nice pieces of my collection. Like I don't have records that are worth $400 in my collection. I sold them all, fortunately. But this is Manduka. And I probably say it's most uncommon just on Discogs. People who have it. I think I'm like 2. I'm like 1 or 2 that have it. Maybe there might be a few more. I can't remember. But this is the Venezuelan repress, which is pressed the year after. It says 72. I don't remember if the album came out in 72. It was pressed in 73. I don't remember. But this has alternative track listing. So there was 2 songs that got switched from the original. So I just got super lucky on eBay. I had no idea. This is actually the first copy I got. I just wanted an early press. I knew it was Venezuelan, but I had no idea about the alternate track listing. I remember I hit up the guy in Discogs and I was like, dude, the track listing doesn't even match the person who listed it. And so he's like, oh yeah, you're right. I used to have it. I sold it, and he changed it, and it was very nice. And then I don't know if I had pictures and shit. Anyways, yeah, really rare, I guess. I have no idea how much it's worth. I don't think it's ever sold. But I mean, yeah, nice to have that. Uncommon, very uncommon. EP. So I have a few EPs in mind, but I picked this one up recently. This is Ronan Orchestra First Meeting. Paul XL Junkie showed their LP, which I have too. This came out in 19. I think the LP came out in 20, if I'm not mistaken. I just bought them together from the label. But this is really good. Mostly Japanese players. The producer is from the UK. Mark de Clive Lowe. So he is the producer. I think he might have wrote all the tracks, plays piano, keyboards, but the rest of the players are all. I think from Japan. I want to say. I think I remember reading they're all from Japan. Tokyo. It was recorded in Tokyo. So, anyways, yeah. But I like this one better than the first LP. This is newer, in the line with newer UK contemporary jazz. It's kind of got that really highly produced quality, which almost gives it like a DJ kind of feel to it. It's really good. I enjoyed that one. Sorry, I don't want to drag on too long here. Girl group, I kind of cheat on this one. I don't really have any girl groups. I've had Go-Go's, Bangles, Heart, all that stuff. I sold them. I can't think of any. I couldn't think of. I'm sure I probably have something. I just have so many records, which I mean, not that many compared to a lot of people who might be watching this video, but there's just stuff I kind of forgot about. It's like it's lost in my collection for sure. But this one came to mind. Feist. This is not a girl group per se, but this is a girl singer songwriter. I looked at who plays on here. It's mostly guys, but she's got 20 musicians on here. A lot of girls. But anyways, this is Feist. It's just, I think it's Amanda Feist is her name. This is Metals. I think this is a masterpiece, and I could see her just sitting playing acoustic. So I guess I consider a group if she's the only person playing it. Album cover I love. So I pulled two here. This one I love the album cover. This is Omar Rodriguez Lopez. Susana de los Amores. It's got a 50s vibe, but like an octopus on the baby's head. It's just insane. Omar Rodriguez Lopez, obviously the guitar player from Mars Volta, just a little bit out there, always pushing it. They always had crazy artwork, and I think one of the dudes died. The original players from Mars Volta, I think I don't know if it might have been even before Mars Volta. Was it the band movie Sparta? No, that was the other offering. I can see the picture. Can't remember the band they were in before. It'll come to me. But I think one of the dudes died from heroin overdose or something. So they're just kind of out there. I don't think he does heroin per se, or at least doesn't anymore. But yeah, but that cover is amazing. It always blew my mind. And this is another one I wanted to show just because so unique. This is Onça Combo. This is on Goma Gringa, my favorite Brazilian label. This came out in 17, 18, 16. somewhere pretty recently. Brazilian 3-piece jazz, folky kind of roots, tribal. Really good. I like it. But yeah, they did a run of 150, and then they did a 20 run, which is every single of. So the artist who did the 150, they just obviously printed those, but he did a run of 20 where he hand drew every one of them. So this is one of the hand-drawn ones, 8 out of 20, so this is unique. Nobody has this cover art except for me. Yeah, but this Onça Combo, their first album, they're coming out with their second one. It is in pre-order now. It comes out later this month. I highly recommend checking them out. It's very good, very good. So I think this is the album I listened to the most, or a lot, or I'll say the most. This is Metamatter. This is my favorite Brazilian. This is Metamatter, their second album called Metal Metal. I have two presses. This is the original was pressed in, I think it was pressed in Czech Republic. At least the vinyl was. I don't know if it was a Brazilian company that sold it. And this is Goma Gringa, the one Onça Combo I just shared. I love this label too. Look at that. Can you see? It's like a triple kiss going on. I don't know. It's insane. But I had two copies, and I would keep one in the house and one in the garage. So, late night, if I was I want to play something really good, I would throw on this for sure. I'll probably listen to more stuff that my wife likes, like Aretha Franklin or something, just to, try to get the mood. But if it's like my choice and I'm like by myself, yeah, this is probably gonna be out of 10 10 spins. This will happen once for sure. So pretty consistently play this, so good. Yeah, it's like it's I say that like the Mars Volta Brazil. It's Mars Volta, but like with some little like more samba. It's kind of hard, but some soft moments, and they got Thiago Franza who plays sax, so they've got a little bit like free jazz freak out parts, and the guitar player. I say it's like Mars Volta because the guitar player I think is kind of on the same par as Omar Rodriguez Lopez. Highly recommend. That's so good. So another one is next one. Oh yeah, needed the OG. So when I first started collecting records, there's a couple Brazilian records I wanted. Well, one I wanted was Jorge Ben, Africa Brazil, which is like my favorite Brazilian record of all time for sure. But shipping from Brazil is expensive, so I bought the reissue of that Jorge Ben record. And then the guy also had a reissue of this Jars Maca, which I wasn't super familiar, but I listened to it, and it was like amazing. It's like a 3-piece jam band. This is his self-titled. This is obviously I ended up buying the original, which is the whole point of the story. But buying that reissue, actually, that seller, I just started buying from him, and that's what got me into like a lot of this newer contemporary stuff. I started listening to stuff he had, or I'm like, oh, recommendations, and I remember who's the band? There was like this hip hop kind of band where Metamatter was on a song, and that's what led me to them. But they had a ton of guest people. Anyways, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about this one. And I needed but I had their repress forever, and I just was always on the prowl for them. I got a sweet deal. I had like this big sticker. I took it off clean. So now I have the original, and this is amazing. Like, yeah, 3-piece jam band. It is loose. It is like funky. It's like acoustic. It's so good. Highly recommend Charles and Macalé. Album they don't get. No, that's not. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Last record I bought. So this is actually a double. Seller had both of them. This is Sven Wonder. I think he's a guitar player from Sweden. Really good. I missed the boat on these. These are, I think, third presses now. I have no idea what press they're on. Actually, I tried to buy the original this. I made an offer. Discog seller did not like it. So he rejected. Well, we just actually let it expire. But I bought it's probably better. I bought the represses. It's good for sure. I love these. These are amazing. Very funky. It's jazz, but kind of like library-ish. It's so good. I love it. So bought these a few days before the end of the year. They're still sealed. Didn't even open them yet. But I've listened to them on Spotify a million times. I will play these soon, I'm sure. The next one has to be an album they don't get. And that was a tough one. I mean, I don't really watch enough vinyl community videos. I've watched a bunch. I've probably seen at least 40 different people. But, you can't watch them all. So I'm going to say, what if people don't show? But I went with this. This is Thiago Franza, and the band he was called Space Charanga, and the album called Ran. And this is also pressed on Goma Gringa, my favorite record label from Brazil, newer record label. I'd say people don't get it because I think in Brazil too, he doesn't get a lot of respect. I remember on the Space Charanga, they came out with a couple albums after, and on Instagram, and I hit him up. I was like, I comment, are you gonna? Is this coming out on vinyl? And he posted like, So I don't think he just, this one and the one before they pressed on vinyl, and that was it. He came out with a bunch of albums after, but nobody ever pressed it on vinyl. And the dude's like all over the place. I mean, he's in Metamatter. He's like, you just see him like show up on all these different Brazilian newer artists as the string guy, the sax or flute or whatever. So he's high in demand. He's really good, but for some reason this I don't think people ever got. And you look at the want on Discogs, like 50 people, but this finally got a little respect. It was kind of hovering. I bought it from the label when it first came out, 16. Just last year, so it finally kind of got over the 100 mark. But still, not a lot of people want it, and I don't know much. I mean, I'm not gonna. I am a jazz novice for sure. I have no. I mean, a lot of people I watch are just way more experienced vinyl community than I am. So I just I like what I hear. But for me, he reminds me of Ornette Coleman, which I'm not well versed in Ornette Coleman, but for some reason, they sound similar to me. And yeah, I just think this is amazing. It's like kind of free jazz, but it's got a lot like very beat heavy too, like Brazilian beat. It just feels big, and I love this album. Obviously, never heard anybody talk about it, but I don't expect anybody to here in the bottom of me. But I just in Brazil, I just don't think it gets a lot of love either, which is kind of sad because he's so good. But yeah, I just don't think we'll get it. Maybe one day. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm just off. Let's see. Punk album. I don't have a lot of punk albums, but I was huge into punk in my senior year in high school and college, my freshman year of college. So kind of went with that. Unfortunately, I don't really seek these out, but I did find this one across the street at the flea market. So Lagwagon, I had to pick it up. I used to love Lagwagon. Their first, I don't even know how many albums I would say first five because at the time they only had five. Who knows how many they have now? I think this is their third album, fourth. I can't remember. Double platinum. Yeah, I was on No Effects, MXPX, Propaganda Strung. I was in all that kind of stuff. So this is, I think it's kind of like pop punk, I guess, late '90s, early 2000s. And then lastly, let's see, favorite 2020 reissue. I will have to go with Los Jivas. I don't buy a lot of reissues, but this album, the original, it's like my grail of grails for sure. But it's really, really, really expensive if it ever pops up for sale, which not very much. And this says the original. I'm sorry, the official re-release. And what's the name? Shaddix did it. German label. They did a reissue a while ago, and it just sells for like $100. So I can't spend $100 on a reissue. So this one was super cheap. I mean, 25, $30, whatever it was. So pulled the trigger on that. 2020 release. Reissue, super stoked to get that. I would love to get an original. Had a chance once, sort of, I guess. I mean, I saw the opportunity, but it was gone in a few days, and it was expensive. It was a lot. It was by far more than I paid for a record, like 10 times more than I ever paid for a record. So, anyways, glad to have that. So yeah, I'll try to keep it short. Who knows how long I went? 30. Ooh, wow, still 30 minutes. Thanks for watching. Hope everyone has a wonderful year, and I look forward to seeing everyone's Vinyl Tag videos. Cheers.